This is the fourth and final tutorial on Fly Me to the Moon, and this is the fun bit, I suppose, after all the hard work on the harmony. This is where we get to play some phrases and mess about with the tune and insert some licks and hopefully lead you into your own improvisation. So the tune of Fly Me to the Moon is quite a nice little melody that moves down by step, and it moves in a sequence, so it does the same thing down a step and so on. I'm going to play the tune with a bit of variation, and eventually I'm going to start to improvise. So it'll start off sounding like Fly Me to the Moon, and then I'm going to use the melody to improvise, basically. Okay, so. So at times it felt like the tune had gone, but then I tried to bring elements of the tune back. But you can see how I used it as a skeleton to improvise. And that's something that's been done for years and years. In fact, traditional jazz musicians would often improvise on melodies. Not to say they wouldn't bear in mind the chords, but that was often a device used in earlier jazz. In the last tutorial, I introduced a couple of bebop licks that I had composed myself. And in my next performance, I'm going to insert those licks. So just remind you, there was the bebop lick over 2-5-1 major, which went, and the lick that went over the 2-5 minor was slightly similar, but had to adapt it to fit. So. So I'm going to insert that into the chord sequence of Fly Me to the Moon. After a while, I probably am going to adapt it a little bit because it does start to sound a little bit samey. So you'll hear the lick a few times, and then hopefully I'll improvise some ideas that are very similar, therefore adapting that lick. So the lick will start actually on bar 2 because the first chord is chord 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can hear how I was putting in the lick when I saw a chord that was a 2 and a chord that was a 5. So part of identifying where those 2 5s are is an important thing, because if you have got lines that fit them, you need to know where to insert them. Now this is a way to practice. It's not a way to play in a performance. In a performance you just want the ideas to flow freely. But obviously it helps to practice pre-learned phrases, because actually improvising isn't just making it up. People often think that improvisers are geniuses, which I'd like to think I am, but the truth is it just takes a lot of practice. And so what you're tending to do is regurgitate and adapt and alter and change ideas. So doing that should help you be able to improvise, and then eventually you should be able to just play lines that fit this nicely. So if you want to adapt a lick, it can merely just be playing the lick in a different beat, and I think I accidentally did that, but I thought it sounded quite good. So instead of starting on beat 1, when I played the lick on bar 9, I think played it on the second bar, a second beat, or the and of 1. I'll try that again. I played it on beat 2, that's what it was. So 1, 2. So just varying where you put it. You could also take a phrase like that and try playing it on different beats. So if you played it on beat 1, 2, what would it sound like if we start on beat 3? Might be a bit weird because all the chords won't fit, but hey, let's have a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Whoops. And you can see that you start to get in a pickle there. I'm just improvising this, so it's not pre-learnt material. But probably just varying where you place it, maybe changing it, add a bit of ornamentation. It's all going to sound different. So just adapting it slightly makes it really interesting. You can write them out, you can pre-learn them, you could just mess about and have lots of fun. When you get to chord 1, you can just improvise. So you could do that. You could do it through different keys, you could extract it, use it for an exercise. So just doing a very simple thing opens up a whole load of ideas if you want to progress. And that should give you some useful ideas to improvise over Fly Me to the Moon.